everybody, and welcome to She's in Business Live. And today I'm really excited because we are getting to talk to a St. Louis local. We're here in St. Louis as well. And she's actually been to one of our awesome branding shoots herself. Not only is she a former entrepreneur, and I would say you never are a former entrepreneur, like always an entrepreneur, but not only is she that, she works as a social media content strategist for one of the largest law firms in the Midwest. And if you live here in the Midwest, you'll definitely know their name. Now, I gotta brag on her for a minute, so I gotta check my notes. But Genn creates content and manages social media to promote brand awareness. She works with local business owners, production companies, videographers, and freelance artists to produce the firm's commercial and social media content. Genn also acts as a production assistant for the firm's lifestyle segment hosted by St. Louis media veteran Tammie Holland, and on the Emmy Award-winning YouTube series, Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches, which I have seen as well. She has a cumulative total of about 70,000 or plus followers. So when we're talking social media strategy, Genn knows her stuff. And what I'm really excited about today, she's got an entire presentation so that we can start to understand how important content is. Because, content is definitely king, but what you do with it is queen, right? So what you do with that content is what's most important. So I'm so excited to welcome Genn on. Hey, Genn, how are you?
Hey, Kate, I'm great.
Yay, I'm so excited. I'm so happy that you're here because we used to do social media management as an agency back in the day before we were She's in Business. And sometimes it seems so simple and sometimes it seems so hard. Like the strategies are always changing and the tactics are always changing. The algorithms are always changing. It seems like, but I know that you're here to kind of simplify stuff for us today and get us thinking bigger picture. So welcome, and tell me a little bit about you and how'd you become this like social media guru? Because that's totally how I think of you.
Okay, guru is a stretch.
You got 70,000 followers. That's pretty good.
I'd say the cumulative amount of followers that you speak to, it takes time, and it's not something that I have built on my own by far, but it is something that I have made some pretty big contributions towards, and consistency is a big part of that equation as well. And so if you've got passionate folks, and a brand that people believe in, and some people that work hard and can be consistent to keep these things going, it will grow. The numbers will come. So yeah, I think you covered the basics of what I do, and I'm just hoping to shine a light on the basics of content strategy and to inspire our viewers today, to get the content strategy rolling for your businesses, because it's some very actionable, easy steps that you can take to start building momentum for your marketing channels, and social media. It's a big marketing channel, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and more important. I feel
Yes.
like too for my age folks who didn't grow up with social media, and now we have people on the team who did grow up with social media, and they're so much further ahead, and I feel like I'm always trying to catch up, but it just places the importance on being early up in it, like trying to figure it out, mastering it, and then being agile with all the changes that are happening. So what I find interesting about you, Genn, is that you make lawyers interesting and fun on social media, because that is a feat. So how did it come about you working for this huge law firm? I mean, guys, if you don't live in the Midwest, this is a major law firm that she's working with. How do you even get into that spot? It's so amazing, and I love what you're doing there, just to really make something that seems a little bit harder to market to the average person exciting and fun and interesting and engaging.
I will. One word answer is authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
I think that authenticity, it it will take any brand far, and it will take you far if you're an authentic person.
Mm-hmm.
And so the entrepreneurial chapter of my life that you spoke of, I was a nanny for about 18 years. And I built some pretty awesome relationships with my clients. I took care of kids. I never saw myself going corporate, never had any interest in working for a corporate entity, let alone lawyers. I didn't like lawyers before. Um, don't get mad at me, my lawyer friends now. But I
They
just
get
didn't
it. They get
as a
it.
as a space for myself. But just showing up and being my authentic self, I built connections. And on my last nanny gig, I worked for the owner of Brown and Crouppen, and I transitioned into Brown and Crouppen, working part time as an executive assistant, and I blossomed from there. I was able to work on projects that really cater to my interests. Brown and Crouppen Law Firm is a beast in marketing in St. Louis as it is. I mean, if you live in the city, you can't drive a mile without seeing Brown and Crouppen billboards, Brown and Crouppen buses, hearing Brown and Crouppen on the radio, on the TV. So I was familiar with the brand. I did not necessarily see a space for myself at the brand. Going in as an executive assistant, it kind of catered to my personal assisting background. So that was a natural fit for me. But when I got in the firm, I became a student of everything. There was just so many avenues, so many things that I could learn. All of the staff is so willing to teach you and let you. They'll mentor you. They'll let you into their world. So I could have gone in a number of directions at Brown and Crouppen, but what sparked my interest was the production area. And they shoot a lot of commercials and they work with reputable production companies. Cool Fire Studios being one of them, which is what connected me with She's in Business. And so I started to meet a lot of really interesting people in the film and production world. I realized that that's something that I had a passion for, and I wanted to make sure my name was on the list to be a production assistant or something. I'll bring the water to shoot, whatever. Be on set, that's where I wanted to be. And I was able to kind of observe and then develop a path for myself from there.
I love what I take away from that. The biggest thing, other than you just worked your tail off, was that you looked for opportunities. And even at the beginning, when it might not have been the fancy stuff or the as exciting stuff, like you kept your eyes wide open and took the opportunities as they come and looked to put yourself in the right places at the right time. I think so many people, whether they're starting in a career or they're starting in business, they've got this, well, my goal is to be up here, and you can get there, but you have to start somewhere. And you gotta just do the stuff. It's not gonna be pretty for a while. You just gotta be open to putting your neck out there and getting out there and making mistakes and making connections. And I love that about your story. So what are you going to be sharing with us today? Because Sarah, our brand social media person here, was very excited about your presentation. She said it was one of the most beautiful presentations she'd ever seen. So what are you, cue us up about what you're going to be presenting about.
I am going to be, I'm going to be presenting the basics of content strategy. Have you ever heard that song? This is the song that doesn't end.
Yes.
Content strategy, social media marketing, it's the song that doesn't end. You can get granular, it can go on and on and on and on. And ultimately, it's about picking the elements, the best vehicles for getting your brand out there, getting people to visit your website. So I'm going to start with the basics. I'm going to go easy on us and share the basics of content strategy. And that came to mind as a overall title for my presentation because that's the question that I get the most. I feel like the word content strategist or the title, a job position, that might not have been in people's vocabulary until recent years. I know it wasn't in mine until recent years. And so when people ask me what I do, I'm hoping to explain that in the simplest form, in a fun form, enjoyable conversation today.
I love it. Well, let's hop in and let me switch you over to screen share and we'll get started. Can't wait.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm sharing, right? There we go. All right. Well, we went through my intro. Kate gave me a lovely opening. Here's our agenda we'll go through. We'll talk about the goal of this presentation. We're going to circle back to that comment content is king because it really is. We'll discuss content strategy basics, brand awareness and social media marketing, engagement, which is a big one, and any questions that come in the comments. I'm willing to answer them on the spot. So my goal today is to excite our viewers about the basics of content strategy and offer up some tips on how you can implement it into your marketing goals. I'm hoping you can leave here today with some low-hanging fruit in mind. Content is king, but distribution is queen. And I this is something that I pretty much came up with in like the last 48 hours, but I believe in it so much because you have to get the shot. That's something that I say a lot at work. It's kind of like my tagline. When I show up, Genn Bugg is going to get the shot. That means I got my phone out. I have my equipment, whatever I can do. If it's video content, taking pictures, if it is, you know, content, educational content that I can pass along to our blog writers, I am always grabbing content. Everything around you is content. And so it means nothing if it's just going to live in your phone, right? That's why distribution is queen. You have to identify which marketing channel is best for the type of content that you want to distribute. And so this is where your goals are going to come in. So you'll set goals for, you know, your business, your brand. Those goals are going to vary. And then your content, you also set goals for your content, which typically fall in the categories of you want to educate people, you want to entertain people, or you want to inspire people. So your posts should fall into those three categories: educate, entertain, inspire. And so for me and my personal brand, and I'm just you'll hear me go back and forth between personal brand and business brand because that is a true story of like where I am today. It's like the toggling of the personal brand, which I am level 10 Genn on Instagram. That's my personal brand. I manage social media for Brown and Crouppen Law Firm, which is at Get BC on Instagram. And so the message, the content for those separate brands are totally separate. It's different, and the goals are going to vary. And then the goals are going to vary also based on your content type. So the secret sauce here is to identify your niche. And that's like, what is it about you that makes you you? What is going to set your brand, your business, your channel, whatever you're using for marketing? What sets that apart from other people who might be doing the same thing? I love the red lipstick example, where, you know, in the cosmetic field, there are thousands of shades of red lipstick. But when I go to the store, I want that Stunner Lip by Rihanna. And it's because I identify with Rihanna's brand. I could get Maybelline red if I want. I could get CoverGirl red, MAC red, Ruby Woo, but I resonate with Rihanna's brand. And so that is the one that I'm going to. And so you want to think about, what is it about your brand that's going to set you apart from all of the others? And so for Brown and Crouppen Law Firm, what I consider, it's a couple of things that I would consider the secret sauce at Brown and Crouppen. But I think the top one, in my opinion, is that we are local. And Brown and Crouppen has been in St. Louis since 1979. Brown and Crouppen, most people, you know, could say that they've heard the commercials, they've seen the billboards all of their lives in St. Louis. You see Terry Crouppen at local community events. He is St. Louis. He's in St. Louis. He works in St. Louis, plays in St. Louis, lives in St. Louis. And so when you go visit the Brown and Crouppen page on Instagram, what you'll see is a lot of content of us just being in St. Louis at local events, visiting local restaurants. That is what the series Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches is all about, is They go around the local restaurants, they have lunch. We record it. It's funny, but ultimately, we're supporting local. We're promoting those businesses. We're using our brand to give their brands more visibility. With this week with Tammie Holland on Facebook, Tammie interviews a lot of local business owners and organizations around St. Louis. That is an awesome channel to learn the who's who. Like if you were a person that were not from St. Louis and you wanted to know, like, well, where should I go? What should I do? What groups would be a good group for me? I'd recommend visit This Week with Tammie on Facebook, because she covers all of those bases. You want to determine the content pillars for your social media channels. And on a deeper level, that's going to vary based on the platform. Your pillars can be a combination of like your secret sauce. And so for Brown and Crouppen Law Firm, one of our content pillars is that we're local. That's our secret sauce. We're also a law firm. And so what we want to offer up on our social media, you'll see that as well, is legal information. That is where we're checking the education box. We are letting you know who we are, what we do, who we serve, and how you can contact us. Um, you also want to develop a simple content calendar. That is going to be like your best friend is to develop a content calendar so that you can get some organization over all of the things that I just mentioned, which would be like your content pillars, when you want to schedule your posts to go out. One of the things that I schedule consistently for Brown and Crouppen is a what's for lunch post. Our lawyers, they do Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches. They've eaten all around St. Louis. And so we'll share like lunch recommendations and tag the restaurant owners, and we will share, which item the lawyers may have had. And so that's something that you can do easily, and you can do it ahead of the game through using a content calendar. Engagement, I'll mention engagement several times throughout this presentation, because engagement is going to be your best friend if you are trying to grow your platform. In order to grow your platform, you need followers, you need fans, you need friends, you need people liking, sharing, commenting, engaging in your content. And in order to do that, you have to kind of give them some engagement in return. And so I'll share, you'll see a few of my slides here are going to be like the Genn tips, and these are the things that are like always in the back of my mind for me to go through and do periodically on whichever social media channel, whether it's my business or my personal. These are the things that I do to contribute towards the growth of the channels. And that's going to vary based on the platform. And then the last thing on here is be consistent, which I don't have to go into a sermon on that. We all know the importance. I hope we all know the importance on being consistent. Okay, here's a Genn tip. Have fun with it. I don't know if you guys are much like this, but for me, the moment I stop having fun with it, I am done with it. So I try to keep things fun. I mean, because like really, what are we all here for? Make it fun. And I feel like the energy doesn't lie as well. It's like if you are really having fun with something, you apply a different level of passion towards the projects that you're working on versus something that you might be a little bit disgruntled about. So try to keep fun in the top of your mind. Keep consistency in the top of your mind, and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the journey along the way as you are building your brand. Okay, so this is the meat and potatoes, the basics of content strategy. I touched on this on a previous slide. Research the content type for the marketing channel. And so when I say marketing channels, it varies. I'll use Brown and Crouppen as an example. We market on billboards, we market on TV, we market on radio, we market on social media, we market by way of mail, we market in person. Like these are all social media marketing channels. Then you've got social media marketing. So you can market on TikTok, you can market on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. it can get pretty granular. With that, you want to research what content type, whether it's a video, a static post, a picture, an Insta story. You want to find out what content type is best for which marketing channel. And so the best example I can provide is TikTok. That's going to be all video content there versus Facebook. On Facebook, you'll see we'll have a lot of photographs as our content with a caption explaining like what the photograph is or what it's about. Our Facebook audience, they respond to that. Whereas if we post just a picture on TikTok with a long caption, I don't think we would get that much engagement. On LinkedIn, the audience on LinkedIn tends to cater more to people who position themselves as thought leaders. And so that's where you'll find some of our content that has like longer captions where we're explaining a lot of things. It's probably a 1 minute read on LinkedIn. And everybody knows that on Instagram, I don't know that the Instagram attention span will want to read that much content. It's pretty quick over there. And like the reels are the trending thing on Instagram. And so you got to determine what content type is best for your marketing channel. Document. Okay. So technically in that slot, it would say create, but I changed it to document. This is a tip that I got from Gary V, who I follow on social media. He says to document your life experiences. And if you just go into it with a mindset of documenting, you'll get more content than you would if you're just like, I got to create this. I found that to be a bit of a wall for myself at some point. It's like, if I have an idea in my mind and I'm like, I got to get these people together and we got to create it and it's got to look like this, it's a little bit more tedious for me. And maybe that's just my working style. But when I show up, my authentic self, and I am in the room and I'm having lunch with the lawyers, sometimes I just pull my phone out and I just grab like real life happenings and I utilize those things. I'll put it with the trending sound on social media, or I'll chop it up. I'll cut parts of a conversation out and I'll add captions to it and maybe add some visuals to it. I find that I get so much more content that way, and it really does convey the essence of your brand. So go into it with the mindset of, or this is an option to go into it with the mindset of a reality show and just record. And then to publish means like you want to distribute it across the relevant social channels, which connects back to you knowing the content type for your marketing channel. You want to know what piece of content is going to work for which channel. Measure, track analytics. Okay. I am not an analytical person. I am the first to admit that. Okay. But analytics on social media specifically have become my bestie in this process because there are so many tools that you can utilize to track your analytics. And a major key is use whatever analytic information that each site offers to you and find out what your most popular performing post is. I know Instagram will tell you like, this post got the most engagement, or this post had the most reach, or this one had the most likes and shares, or this video was watched the longest. When I see those types of analytics, those are the things that stand out in my mind to do it again. So you want to go through, figure out what your best performing post is on whatever marketing channel that you're doing, and do it again, rinse and repeat. And then to promote and to optimize it is basically you want to apply those insights and you want to repeat. You want to make sure that people know what it is what campaign that you're trying to make people aware of. You want to give it to them in an easily digestible way so that they can repeat it to somebody else or share it quickly with another person. All right, moving along. Genn's tip, override perfection. That is a major one for me. is like constantly trying to get things like right sometimes will slow the process. And as we know, we're in a fast moving world. Trends pass by really quickly. The relevance of content sometimes expires out quickly. And so you kind of have to stay on the move with your cadence of creating content and distributing it. And if you get caught up in the world of perfection, it can make you a little bit stagnant. There are so many levels to overriding perfection. I'm not just speaking in terms of like the technical aspects of things. I'm talking also in terms of like your overall energy about putting yourself and your brand out there. Some of the things that I hear frequently from people who I know that are building brands is like they're waiting for like a lot of these pieces to align before they can start doing something. And I just hope that after today's live stream with She's in Business, that whoever's viewing this leaves inspired to take a little bit of messy action. You know, sometimes that's okay. You'll smooth these things out along the way. A good example is like, I am not a videographer, okay? I'm the first person to tell you there are some pretty talented content creators out here that can make some really cool videos and they're consistent with it. And I I don't consider myself as one of them, at least not yet. Consistency will take me there. But the fact that I am not as technically savvy as most content creators, it does not stop me from constantly creating content. I am consistently on social media. I am posting reels. I am repurposing content. I am taking video content. I'm editing videos and things. It doesn't stop me. So just don't allow any area where you sense that perfection is stopping you or stalling your process. Leap over the hurdle as quickly as you can. Best of both worlds. This is probably my favorite slide here. Your business brand and your personal brand. You want to leverage your business brand to develop your personal brand and vice versa. And so what I mean by that, using Brown and Crouppen at Get BC on Instagram and Genn Bugg at Level 10 Gen on Instagram, those are two totally different brands. My personal brand versus the business brand, my job brand. And so the way that I leverage my business brand to build my personal brand is like Brown and Crouppen, you know, for instance, we're giving away gas all summer long. We've got a gas card giveaway. That's something that I'll post on my personal page. You know, it's giving my personal followers an opportunity. It's placing it out there in front of them. And then it's also driving traffic to the Brown and Crouppen page. So people who know me, follow me for whatever their reason is for following me, they're up to date on what I'm involved in. And this is how I drive business to each pages respectfully. And then chess, not checkers. You know, that's a life mantra of mine. It's chess. It's a game of chess, not checkers. And the queen is the most powerful piece in the game of chess. The queen is able to move any number of squares vertically, horizontally, diagonally, combining the power of the rook and the bishop. And I say that because this takes us back to the opening of this presentation is that content is king, but distribution is queen. Distribution is the boss here. Content marketing. You want to use creative and original content to generate brand awareness, grow traffic, lead generation, and target your customers. And I'm just jumping to the bottom of this slide here with the CTAs. For the people who don't know what that is, that's the calls to action. You want to make sure you include a call to action in every post. And that's where you ask people to do something or you give them an assignment. It's like you read this content or you viewed this content. Here is what you do next. And the call to action is typically like, follow, subscribe, click the link in our bio, visit this website, meet us here, join us there, enter this contest. That is where you give people something and then you ask for something. You give them a call to action. Um, that's important. You want to keep that top of mind when you are creating your content. Utilizing your assets. I kind of touched on this a little bit when I was talking about how to gauge your analytics and find your most popular posts. Um, there's a business suite that you can access through Facebook. I'm finding that to be a valuable tool for me. It will track your social media channels, Facebook and Instagram primarily. It tracks those. It'll tell you your analytics, your performing posts. It alerts you when a comment comes in, because remember, you got to engage, which means you got to respond to those comments. And a lot of the times you want to catch it as it comes in. On TikTok, I think it's called the business suite on TikTok as well. You want to create ads is too. That's another thing. If you have a specific campaign that you want to promote, you can create an ad or turn it into an ad on Facebook and Instagram, which essentially is putting some money behind your post to make sure that your post is seen by more people. And if that sounds like a lot of work for you, or if it sounds like it's out of your wheelhouse, Facebook has a pretty good tool called the Facebook Marketing Expert. And so if you go on your business pages and say, then this is for a person who's never placed a social media ad before. If you go on your you click a post, it'll give you the option to boost the post. If you click that you want to boost that post, a bunch of criteria is going to come up that you're going to need to enter, which is basically like you're going to set goals. What do you want to do with this post? Do you want more people to view it? Do you want more people to come to your website? You want more people to like it, share it? So once you set those goals, you determine how much money you know is in your budget to boost the post and how long you want that boost to run for. Facebook will have these pop-ups where they'll tell you you can schedule a call with a marketing expert. If you've never placed an ad on social media, utilize that opportunity because it's free. And a real live human being will call you from Facebook and they will walk you through how to place the ads bit by bit. And when the ad is complete, the analytics are provided for you. They'll let you know how many people your ad reached, how many people clicked your website, how many people viewed your content, and you can use that as a roadmap for future ads that you'll place on social media. And so I highly recommend the Facebook. I've been pleased with that asset on Facebook. And then on Instagram, it's called the professional dashboard, where you can view those analytics. But the Facebook marketing expert, they can place those ads to where your ad will run on Facebook and on Instagram. So keep that in mind. We talked about creating a content calendar. There are so many ways that you can do that. Um, you just need to identify what's going to work best for you. It's probably going to be a user the user taste or preference type of idea that'll lead you to what type of content calendar is going to work for you. I already said this and I'm going to repeat it. Analytics are your bestie. I have gotten in the habit of, I check the analytics on a weekly basis because that kind of guides me on like what to keep doing and what to stop doing. And the faster you can identify what to stop doing, it gives you more opportunity to do more of what you should continue doing. Research hashtags. I know that might sound like a throwback statement, but hashtags work. And what I've found on Instagram is that if you type a hashtag in, it'll tell you how many people follow that hashtag or how many eyes, will be on your post when your post is added into, that pot with that hashtag. And so for us, like Brown and Crouppen Law Firm, our secret sauce being that we're local, you'll notice we use a lot of St. Louis hashtags. We're also lawyers. We use legal hashtags. And we're foodies, three lawyers eating sandwiches, obviously. We use, food hashtags and the local STO food scene hashtags to kind of get our content out in front of other people who are into that niche. And then links. So when it comes to links, you want to add your link to your website in your bio. And then IG stories. I could have made a whole slide just about IG stories. And so for my personal brand, Level 10 Genn, IG stories is probably my strongest marketing channel. Like anything I put in my stories, people respond to. you can add links in your story as well, which somebody can view your story and then boom, click the link and it takes them right where you want them to go. And so, for instance, knowing that I was going to do this live stream today, I posted, the post in my Insta stories. I added the link, and that also transferred to my Facebook stories, which my Facebook audience is pretty much that's a strong channel for me as well. And 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure some of my Facebook friends are on this live stream today by way of the link that I posted in my Insta stories. So keep that in mind when you are, even if you, some people don't use Insta stories or don't know how to use it. The easiest way that I can get you to jump in the pool of the Insta stories is that it only lasts 24 hours. It'll be gone by the time you cringe over it. It'll be gone in 24 hours. So test your stories out, add your link. If you have a retail business and you're running a sale, you know post the sale item in your Insta story and then add the link to your website that takes them directly to that sale item and see what you get. Um so yeah. Oh, and stickers in the IG story is another Gen tip as well. So I'll use Pride Month, for example. Pride is in June. And we post a lot of our relevant content in our Insta stories on Brown and Crouppen Law Firm. And so Instagram offered these pride stickers. They're telling you like, hey, use a pride sticker in your Insta stories, and then they've got like a rainbow heart maybe, or some type of a little rainbow, or a pride stamp. And so I used the pride stamp because we were celebrating Pride Month at Brown and Crouppen. We were attending the Pride Parade. So I was using the pride stamp, the pride stickers in the Insta stories, and it elevated our story engagement tremendously. Like, typically, we'll get somewhere around 60 to 80 people who view a story on any given day, versus when that pride sticker was added, 250 viewers on an Insta story. And so once I discovered that, I was like, oh, so weave in the things that we need people to do, our calls to action, and use those stickers. And so those stickers change just based on whatever acknowledgement or holiday is coming around. But pay attention to that, and if they align with your brand, use them, because it will increase your viewers on social media. A Gen tip is engage. We talked about that. Respond to every single comment. Okay. These people are this is your audience, and they are your word of mouth, and they are the ones that are going to share your stuff and invite other people to come and engage on your page. So you want to respond to all of your comments on Facebook. I go through every comment and I like every single comment. So let every person know I saw you. Thank you. Hello. Whatever. Just make sure that you like those comments. You can respond to them by typing something out if it's relevant to you. I know that can be time consuming, and you don't always need to like give a fully typed out response to every person, but at least like their comment or do some type of a reaction so that people know that you've seen them. Invite people to like, follow, and subscribe. This is a big tip for Facebook. Okay. If you are marketing on Facebook, if you have a Facebook page for your business, it should be a regular activity to invite people to like the page. And Facebook makes it so easy for you to do that. Sometimes when I log on Facebook, it'll just like pop up and say, invite people to like the page. And then you can click invite all of them, or you can go through and you can choose specific people to invite. But do that regularly. Another way of inviting people to like the page is if you have a post that has 100 reactions, you're going to click on those reactions, and it's all everybody's name who liked it or left a comment is going to pop up, and then it'll say invite, or it'll let you know that that person already follows the page. If they don't follow that page, it's your job to invite them. That is a strategy that I use for this week with Tammie Holland's page, is going through, her show, it airs on Facebook Live. And so we would get new viewers all the time, and they would like or comment during the live stream. And while Tammie's doing the show, I'm in the background going through that live stream, and I'm taking the people who have engaged on the post. I'm invite. And I think that you get a big reaction to that. Oh, sorry, a package just came. My dog barking. You get a big reaction to that in the midst of a live stream, because you're including that person in your process, number one. But 9 times out of 10, people accept that invitation, and that grows your page. So you want to do that on Facebook consistently. On Instagram, the strategy that I use for that is I spend probably about 30 minutes a day on that discover page. And that's that page where, like, these are not people that you're following. They're not following you. They're just like whoever is most popular on social media at that time. And their posts are on that discover page. Spend some time on the discover page engaging with those accounts. You want to go on those accounts and like their stuff, if it's relevant to you. Comment, share it with a friend. If it's something that aligns with your brand, share it in your Insta stories. And those people that run those accounts, they see it, and then they're likely to come and return the favor. They'll follow you, they'll like you, they'll subscribe to your channels as well. So spend time exploring on the discover pages. Use your DM. That's a new one. So on the DM, this is a new tip that I got probably in the last month, is like how to use your DM correctly. And on Facebook, that would be equivalent to like Messenger, where you take a post and you can DM it to someone with a call to action. So right now, a campaign that we're running for Brown and Crouppen is we are in the STL Headliner Awards. Shameless plug here. And so we need votes. We need to collect votes in order to win the title of Best Law Firm in St. Louis, Missouri. So we have a post on our Instagram page that explains it all. It tells you how to vote, where to vote. You can even text to vote, which is super simple, right? And so there are people that we engage with, accounts who we engage with consistently. I took the time, I DM'd every single one of them that post. And I said to them, we need your vote. And surprisingly, every single person I DM responded to me. I got you. I voted. No problem. So sometimes you just have to be bold enough to ask, and you got to do the work to spread the word out. So your DM is a good tool for that. And on Facebook, you can use Messenger to do that. Align your brand with causes or local organizations is a big one. All the local organizations need support. They need more eyes on them. And so if your brand, if there's something you believe in or an organization that you support, aligning with them could be really good for both your brand and that organization. And so an example of that I can give is like Brown and Crouppen. We partnered with Stray Rescue earlier this year. And in that partnership, we were able to collaborate with them on social media. They have a huge following on social media. I think they have like 90,000 followers or more. They have high engagement. And during our partnership, we were able to collab on posts with them. They reposted our content. It grew our pages, and it brought more followers to us. And that's a way of like kind of sharing your audience with a local organization, and it's getting people involved in something they care about. Right now, Annie Malone has a lot of volunteer opportunities coming up, and so that's something that you'll see Brown and Crouppen share on our Insta stories, or we'll repost, because we support Annie Malone. We march in the parade every year. We're sponsors of the parade each year, and so us doing that is our way of kind of like using our brand to promote them and their organization and get more people involved in causes that we care about. Repost relevant content. You know, for us being lawyers on Brown and Crouppen Law Firm, sometimes we'll repost like trending headline legal news. And it's the stuff that like everybody's seeing all over the news, but sometimes they want to like hear or see it from your perspective, because they follow your brand. So you can use those opportunities that align with your brand. And then I already talked about the links and the stories and the IG. A few achievements. I named a few here that are, I believe, a result of the things that I previously covered, the engagement, the authenticity, the consistency, all those things, are the result of some pretty, I think, notable achievements. And so having Master P on This Week with Tammie Holland show. Master P is a rapper, a multimillionaire, a business mogul, an entrepreneur, and he was a guest on This Week with Tammie Holland, not once, but twice. He agreed to come back. And it was because at the time that he came on the show, he was promoting a show of his own called Master P Reviews. And he was reviewing items from local creators and small business owners, and that is exactly what Tammie Holland does on her show. Is Tammie Holland not necessarily reviews, but she promotes local creators and business owners. And so since it aligned, he saw it as an opportunity to promote his show, and that was an opportunity for us to promote ours. And we engaged with his show. We told people about Master P Reviews. We influenced people to submit their creations to Master P Reviews. And we got followers because we're cool folks that had Master P on twice. So that was a high achievement for me, and that's an achievement that comes beyond, it exceeded beyond just social media. The three lawyers eating sandwiches. Now, there's a few achievements embedded in three lawyers eating sandwiches. So one I'll speak about is the meet and greet that we had. So obviously on three lawyers eating sandwiches, we go to lunch. The lawyers go to lunch. They eat. They talk. It's funny. We share it. We promote the business. But what we did was we took one of those businesses. At this time, it was Legrand's, and we invited people to come and have lunch with the lawyer, one of the stars of the show, Ed Herman. Ed comes out, and when I tell you, so many people showed up to this event, it was overwhelming. We were on our feet the entire time, and people were able to come out and shake hands with the lawyer, eat a sandwich with them. We also had our legal information present. We use three lawyers eating sandwiches as a vehicle to educate people on who we are and what we do. It is a funny show, but we are lawyers, and we can help you if in the event that you get in a car accident, or you have an injury, a slip and fall, you get hurt at work. So these are the conversations that were going on during lunch. I count that as a big win because we really maximized that content. We maximized that episode. We promoted that episode, and we went back to where we shot it and invited people to come and be a part of it. Another three lawyers eating sandwich win that is not on this list is we had an episode with the captain of the St. Louis Blues, Ryan O'Reilly, at Frida's in University City. And that was a unique episode because Frida's is obviously a vegetarian restaurant. And just through, it was a fluke how we came up on that. Ryan O'Reilly is a vegetarian, and I just happened to want a veggie burger one day, went to Frida's and saw that they had a team captain special on the menu that was created by Ryan O'Reilly. So it was a good fit. It was something that he was happy to do the episode because that was one of his favorite restaurants. And it was a new territory for the lawyers because none of them are vegetarians. They want meat. Okay. But it was a fun episode, and we were able to maximize that content by we used it to promote our nomination in the A-List Awards, which we won that. And a big part of that was like getting people to vote for us and to, basically explain that we are social media influencers because we influence your lunch choice most days by promoting places that we've been. Ed's favorite things holiday giveaway. I count that as a big win, and that's one that flies under the radar. So Ed Herman has a show called Ed Versus. He did an episode of Ed's favorite things, which is essentially just like Oprah Winfrey's Oprah's favorite things, where she goes through her list of Christmas gifts that she recommends that you purchase. Well, Ed did this for men. He gave suggestions of things that you can buy for a man because we all know men are hard to shop for. With that, we did a giveaway. Giveaways are your friend. If you have something that you can give away, your business, if you have something that you can give away periodically, this will grow your audiences. And so what we did was we promoted the Ed's favorite things giveaway. Every item that he named in that episode, we promoted for people to enter for a chance to win one of the items. And so, in order to enter, you had to like us on Facebook, you had to follow us on Instagram, you had to repost the contest, you had to comment. And the people who checked all of those boxes were entered to win one of the items. And we picked the winner and we shipped them their stuff. As a result, we came out of it with new followers on Facebook, new followers on Instagram, and new followers from the people who they shared our content with. So use giveaways as leverage to grow your audiences, and use giveaways to promote whatever your marketing campaign is at that time. Because if you got a giveaway, it's like the honey that's going to draw the bees in. Is, people are going to come over for that giveaway, but then you've got all of your other content and everything else that your brand offers right there for them. um Having the comedian Darius Bradford on Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches, I listed that as an achievement as well, because this came by way of social media engagement. I noticed, I got an alert that Darius Bradford had commented on the episode of Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches. He made a funny comment, and from that point, I was boom right in his messenger. Hey, would you be interested in being on an episode of Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches? And he was like, heck yes. And boom, there it is. So use your engagement to actually connect and ask for things, and get people involved in your brand, because Darius Bradford has a huge following on Facebook. I mean, he's well known from Comic View and BET. He's a well-known comedian, and so when he came onto the episode of Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches, that expands our audience, because now he's promoting the episode too to his audience, and it's bringing them to us, people who might not have necessarily known about us, and vice versa. Our audiences may not have known about Darius Bradford, and now they do. So use your brand and your engagement to promote other brands, and everybody wins. Okay, so the pages that I was using as examples throughout this presentation, you can check them out. Level 10 Genn is my personal brand. We talked about that versus business brand. And my Facebook is Genn Bugg. My business that I manage social media for is Brown and Crouppen Law Firm. So on Instagram, it's at GetBC. On Facebook, it's Brown and Crouppen, and on YouTube, it's Brown and Crouppen / BCTV. So BCTV is where you can watch those episodes that I referenced. Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches, the Ed Versus, and then the lifestyle page channel is going to be This Week with Tammie. So on Instagram, it's at This Week with Tammie, and on Facebook, it's This Week with Tammie Holland. You can find that Master P episode on Tammie Holland's Facebook. And you can also take a gander and learn about some local, pretty cool people in St. Louis and Kansas City, movers and shakers in the city. So that concludes my presentation. Kate, you still there?
Yeah, I loved that. That was so good. I loved all the really creative ideas. Because I feel like sometimes we're so stuck in like our office, if it's like home office or, but like you're looking for opportunities to like bring other people in and community, like build connections. And that's really what social media is. And you're just kind of like taking it to a whole nother level by thinking creatively and outside the box. And I don't know if I'm sure everybody else was thinking some of those like, oh, I could do something like that in my town with these people. And I love those ideas. It got me totally thinking. So thank you for that. We do have a few questions if you still got time.
I got time.
Okay, Sarah's going to read them to me. I'll repeat them.
All right. What are
Okay.
your favorite content producers you follow?
What are some of your favorite content producers that you follow?
Oh, okay. So recently in St. Louis, I've connected with Dante Barger. His name on Instagram is the original Dante. And Dante, I'm on my local here because there's some pretty cool content creators here that
Yes.
I've done some work with recently, and I've enjoyed that. So Dante's pretty cool, and he does pretty good reels, and he has awesome visuals, and he's a person that, like, if you just need some inspiration, I follow his page and kind of go from there. I also, Rob Ruger is one who we've worked with. He's worked with us at Brown and Crouppen. And so that's another thing. These connections are people that I'll bring in to work with us at Brown and Crouppen, because I can't, Genn Bugg can't do it all, right? Sometimes you have to, you got to
What?
leverage.
Jen's gonna get the shot. So no,
Then you get
no.
the shot. I got an eye for it, and so these local, I have a good amount of local creators that I have my eye on, and when the opportunity arises and I have an opportunity where I can bring them in and work with them, I use those opportunities. But yeah, Rob Ruger, a lot of people in St. Louis know Rob. Rob is like the person you want to call if you have an event and you want to have like a behind the scenes recap, something to like bring people into the essence and convey the energy of that event. Rob will get that. And
Rob's
if
the
you go to his
FOMO
other,
guy.
yeah, yeah. And then another one, and this is a local person who a girl who I follow, Brene Washington. I know her from high school, but Brene is a really fun creator on Instagram. I personally enjoy her content. She makes a lot of cool reels. She's always on trend. She knows the trending sounds. I have also been enjoying that STL bucket list page.
I haven't seen
Those
that one.
creators are
Hmm.
pretty, yeah, yeah. You want to follow them.
Yeah.
They have an awesome page. They're all over St. Louis. And We've worked with Big Stew Productions. That was somebody who worked on Tammie's show with us. He's an awesome videographer. He had a production studio downtown. I think he might have moved, but these are people that like I can tap into to
Yeah.
work with. Whether it's like hey, we need a videographer. If we need a photographer, like we've used AG Shaw, which he does these awesome black and white photos. If you need a headshot, hit him up. But yeah, the list just goes on and on. It just depends on kind of what I'm in the mood for.
Yeah. All right. Was that? We got another question.
One last one. Where do you find inspiration for new concepts?
Where do you find inspiration for new concepts?
Inspiration for new concepts. Oh, that's a good question.
That's a really good question.
I would say
That's a tough question. Like, because you're
because
really,
it's a
I mean,
couple
you're like
layers.
really outside of the box in your thinking, like in like a really effective way. So like that's a juicy question.
Yeah. So what I'll say is number one, and from the business brand element, right? I pay attention to some of like the top people that are doing things within our demographic. So when it comes to like legal marketing on social media, um, I follow and we've worked with the CEO lawyer who is Ali Awad. He's a lawyer that's based in Atlanta who has mastered social media marketing for himself. He's got, a couple million followers on Instagram. He's obviously a lawyer, so he understands, the legalities of like what you can put out on social media. I sort of use him as a guide for Brown and Crouppen content. I look at it and I'm like, oh, if Ali Awad did it, then we can do that. That's cool. Um, you know, he posts reels, he posts car accident videos, and then he also weaves in his calls to action. He
Yeah.
lets people know I'm a lawyer at the end of the day, and if you get hurt in a car accident, you can contact me.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I find myself using as a model. Gary V, I really like Gary V's just energy and his overall philosophy on social media.
Yeah.
And so for on a personal note, he motivates me with like that whole like just jumping over the hurdles, being authentic, putting yourself out there, being consistent, being mindful of your followers. And then for myself, on a personal note, what inspires my content is just like recurring thoughts. So I have a few elements of my personality. You know, you'll get professional Genn, you'll get Genn the mother, you'll get Genn the family woman who spends a lot of time with my family. You'll get me when I'm on my Beyonce tip, which Beyonce's album. Look, y'all lucky this interview was today. Because if it was tomorrow, I would have been like, no can do. Beyonce's album Renaissance drops on Friday.
Oh, I've
So
heard about it. Yeah, yeah.
that's right. That's what I'm gonna be doing tomorrow. So yeah, with that, like you'll see a lot of Beyonce updates. You know, I'm in the hive. I'm a bee. So you'll see a lot of Beyonce updates. I am an avid yogi, so you'll see a lot of yoga content on my page. I am very spiritual. You'll see spiritual updates on my page. Family oriented, family. So those content pillars, my secret sauce, the elements of my personality are my content pillars, and that is what inspires my content. The people that I follow who are into those same things, like there's a yoga trend called Yogi See Yoga Do. You know, I'll do that on my personal page sometime where somebody will, they'll get in the yoga move and then the other yogis will copy it or try to do it. You know, sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's a blooper, but it's fun and it's content. So sometimes I'll pop out with a Yogi See Yoga Yogi Do post. And then of course, like the motivational stuff too, because that's something that really is true to me and my personality.
So it sounds like you have the strategy, like the core strategy, so you don't have to overthink it on the day to day. You look for inspiration, you know what works and what doesn't. You know some stuff's gonna bomb, some stuff's gonna do really well, but like I think a lot of people it's like they get in their own way, like what's gonna perform and like, well, is this gonna be a good post or is this gonna, and they never post anything. But when you understand what you've just taught, all those core pieces, those strategic things that are so important, then you could be authentic and be creative and like just go out and try new things. So I love your perspective and I love how you think outside of the box on content and have a really good time with it. And anybody who can make, you know, lawyers, no offense, Brown and Crouppen, but a whole, you know, gaggle of lawyers exciting to me is like, that's other levels. So thank you for coming and sharing your wisdom and all of your insight. Maybe you would come back anytime you see like big changes in social media, or maybe you come back and do some tactics with us sometime.
Absolutely. I would love to.
Yay, we'd love to have you back anytime, and we'll reach out to you to do that. And thank you so much, Genn. And remind everybody where they can follow you just one more time so they can come connect with you right after this.
Absolutely. So my personal Instagram is level 10 Genn. The word level, the number 10, and the word Genn. And then Genn with the G, that is. My personal Facebook is Genn Bugg. The business Instagram that I manage is for Brown and Crouppen Law Firm, and it is at Get BC. And even if you don't need a lawyer today, you might someday. So use that as an opportunity to get to know these lawyers and see what we're about and see where they are and you know what they're doing around town in St. Louis. On Facebook, it's Brown and Crouppen. On YouTube, it's Brown and Crouppen /BCTV. If you're a foodie, you're going to love Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches, and you'll get some awesome recommendations from that. You'll also check out the Ed Versus show on YouTube as well, because Ed's got some pretty cool niche episodes there. On lifestyle tip, follow This Week with Tammie on Instagram. This is where I'm telling you to go if, like, you know, you got a friend that's coming to St. Louis and they're like, oh, you know, who are the people, who are the movers and the shakers? You can find that on Tammie Holland's page on Facebook, This Week with Tammie Holland, and This Week with Tammie on Insta.
Love it. Well, thank you so much again, Genn, and we will see you next time. Thanks for joining us. And everybody, we'll be back next week for more She's in Business Live so that you can learn more about how to grow your business and create the freedom in your business and your life and live your life by design. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.